Hello and welcome to the Eat Right and Move podcast. This is our new series, the weight loss series, and we are now into episode number 3. I suppose we should introduce ourselves really, shouldn't we? My name's Jonathan Bill.
Hello, and I'm Lee Samson.
Okay, so I don't know if I already said it, but today we're talking about sleep. And first I want to kick off just by talking about a little bit about personal experiences with sleep. So Lee, what's your experience?
So I'm going to be, it's kind of a two-sided coin of how you react to sleep. So for me, I'm what I call the anti-sleep.
Yeah, you don't like it.
In terms of, for me, I do not get on well with sleep. As in, if I had my way, I wouldn't sleep.
No.
There's a difference between wouldn't and kind of not sleeping. So that's kind of what we'll cover on. But over the years, I've really struggled with sleep. Just through personally not wanting to do it. Like, I would rather sort of stay up and do things and work and be out and things like that.
Don't like missing out, do you?
Yeah, I love that term FOMO, fear of missing out. So I do. That's how, again, that kind of linking it. But never been a big fan of sleep. Really, it's not that I can't sleep, because I will.
No.
And I'll end up most probably doing what a lot of people might suffer with, just not maybe in the same way, but burning out.
Yeah.
And getting crash sleep. So where you put off sleep through one or the reason or another, and then that's it. You're gone. You can't sort of do it as well.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, as well as not wanting to go to sleep, and I have the other issue is that when I wake up, I'm up like a light. So it's kind of, I don't go back to sleep sort of thing, and that can be an issue if you're not getting quantity. And that's kind of where I've suffered with is for me is over the years it's never quality, but it's always quantity of sleep, not getting enough. And that's something personally I've worked with pretty much over the life of Eat Right and Move. It was kind of at the start when we started working and researching around this that we kind of identified areas that we needed to work on. And a big one for me was sleep. Absolutely. And over the time, it has got better. Yeah. To the point now where I mostly do sleep. I still have my days where I mostly don't get enough, but they're less frequent now.
Yeah.
And would you say you're the opposite side of the coin?
Completely. I love sleep. I will start off by saying that actually I did struggle with sleep when I was younger, around sort of my very early 20s. But because of it was mainly a worry, anxiety thing more than anything. But I quickly sort of trained myself to become better at it, certainly from kind of getting to sleep. And now I can't get enough of it. In fact, this week I've been asleep before 8:30 every night, and not woken until 5:30, 6 in the morning, which is probably a bit too much. But it's been, really good sleep. But no, I've never really had a fear of it. And quality is sometimes an issue, but again, that depends on kind of stress levels, and training levels as well. Because I know definitely from experience, if I'm training too much, it can have an effect on my sleep. And if I'm not training enough, it can have an effect on my sleep as well. So yeah, I guess a slightly shorter explanation of my personal experience with sleep. But yeah, I've certainly in the last 6-7 years, I've not really had any problems. And it's been very much when my head hits the pillow, I'm off. It might be broken occasionally, but I'm straight back to sleep as soon as I wake up. So it's never really...
It's kind of interesting that we kind of, again, the way the weight loss series is designed is each week we're asking people to focus on things, and kind of we're talking about weight loss, and the first thing we're asking people to focus on after setting goals and tracking is sleep.
Yeah.
And kind of, it's a very unusual link sort of thing, and it's one that is, we say that you've got to get right first time, because it does help across the board.
Absolutely. I mean, for so many reasons. People think sleep isn't important, and I've never really understood why, because it's so key for us from a repair and recover perspective, and certainly even things like getting hormonal levels right, and our circadian rhythm has such an impact on hormones that if you start messing about with it and not treating sleep with respect, then your body's not going to respect you back in the nicest possible way.
It is the one interesting thing that our key stress hormone cortisol is actually linked to our circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing then on the knock-on effect of that cortisol is very closely linked to insulin,
Yeah.
which is one of our weight regulating hormones as well. So it kind of shows you that if one chain is broken, that how it can have a knock-on effect.
Huge impact. And in fact, some people, if you kind of consult with them and they turn around and say, actually my sleep's pretty terrible, I get about 2-3 hours a night. If you can turn that round, almost overnight weight starts dropping off and they've not changed anything else but sleep.
It really can slow your progress down, which is, like again we say, it's kind of people consider it very unheard of that no, sleep won't have that effect on it. Kind of to the point where in the past people often thought nutrition doesn't have an impact and it was the exercise is the key. But now we're even looking into some of these lifestyle factors that will just have a bigger weight as some of these other ones in producing weight loss.
Yeah, and I think we use that word holistic, and it's had a really kind of negative connotation in the past. But actually, if you're looking to make big lifestyle changes and to affect your health in positive ways, you have to have a holistic approach. You have to look at everything from both a lifestyle perspective to exercise to nutrition, a lot. So yeah, I think it's a really important thing to look at and focus on.
So again, kind of, we've in the past we've talked on this, so we're not going to go into much detail, but in talking about what we should be looking for. So again, the first thing, well, it's not one of these, it's like most life, we always have this argument in quantity and quality, but with sleep, both matter.
Absolutely.
And it's all good and well saying, yeah, I go to bed at this time, I wake up this time, and I get my 4 hours, but if that's unbroken, it's pretty pointless.
Yeah.
And I mean fully broken, not kind of partly broken. Like you're not really getting that deep sleep, not allowing the body to repair and recover. And it needs to be both. We need to be focused on first how much.
Yes. So I guess from that perspective, then how do we do that? It's that whole. How do we even assess it to begin with? How do we even understand our sleep patterns? How do we understand kind of how to change it then? I guess after that.
I think again we go into tracking is the first step along the process. We mentioned last week how important tracking is.
Yeah.
And kind of the first thing we do is kind of make sure with sleep is track one key variable, which is the kind of the timings of your sleep.
Yeah.
It's something that everyone can do. Track.
Really easy.
Yeah. When you go to bed and when you wake up.
Yeah. Just write the time
every
down.
day. I get people to do it for 7 days because you normally find doing it, you don't need to track it that long because a week is more typical in people. It will slight variations, but that's a normal sleep pattern for you. So tracking that, and what first thing that gives us an idea of is how long you're sleeping for.
Yep.
So we can check. So again, we talk about these magic numbers of. Magic number is always 8 hours sleep, but we talk about 7.5 and 9 because of how we know sleep cycles work. We did a mini webinar on the sleep cycle webinar on our Facebook page. So the key thing is kind of making sure that we're in that kind of end, but it kind of doesn't need to be that exact.
No, and again it does fluctuate as well with age and gender as well. But as a general rule, 7.5 to 9 hours is pretty good. But yeah, also if you are going to track that, then making a kind of note of the quality at the same time. How many times did you remember waking up in the night? How did you feel when you woke up as well? I think is really, really important. And also, if you know, how long did it take you to drift off? Because it's all good and well getting into bed and writing down, well, I got into bed at this time, put my head down. But actually, how long did it take you? After
was
that
it kind of head hit the pillow gone, or were you kind of staring for the next hour before you went? Again, that kind of.
The more information you've got, basically what we're trying to say, the more information you've got, the more you can do to affect a change.
Because that's what you're doing with the tracking. You're identifying why your sleep is not good,
why it isn't optimal, and what you can then do to make it optimal.
Which is kind of where we're going for it. So, kind of first point, we track it, then we identify it, and then we kind of, some of the things we were talking about, some of the aspects we look at. And the first thing we do look at is getting your times right.
Yeah.
We're both believers that it doesn't make a difference what you do, whether it's a weekday or a weekend, or whether it's a day off or a working day. You should be waking up at the same time and going to bed at the same time.
Yeah, consistent. And, you know, I think even Saturday just gone, I was asleep at 8:30. And that's a little bit sad. But every day I try to wake up at 6, between 5:30 and 6, because that seems to be the best time for me to wake up and the best time for me to start doing things and start being productive. And I've been that way for years now. Which means I have to realistically be in bed by 10 at the latest. Whether that's a weekday or a weekend, it doesn't matter. And that honestly has the biggest impact on sleep quality. If I have a night where I'm in bed later, if I get into bed at 12 o'clock, I'm still up at 6, but I feel crap for a few days after. So it's really important to get that consistency down.
Yeah, for me, I'm a 5 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
My lovely wife can vouch for that in terms of with a little bit of a annoyance at the weekend when I'm still waking up on a Sunday morning at 5 o'clock and she's not.
Oh yeah, my girlfriend's got used to it now. So
yeah.
We don't even talk about it now. It's just that's the time we wake up.
So, yeah, well, that's the time I wake up.
Oh no, we both wake up. We both wake up at that time.
So no, I'm a 5, and again, I'm pushing maybe 10.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stop getting 11 into bed. That is the key thing. So that's the one thing, weekday or weekend, and it does have a massive difference. So again, I also ask people to track their work hours and things like that, or their kind of their responsibility time zones to work out what's average. So kind of what it then gives me a chance to do is push out that your sleep time will coincide with your latest day.
Absolutely.
And then your start time again coincides with it, and we try and manage that, and that can quite help quite easily.
Find a pattern that works.
So getting into routine with time is the thing, and it can be as simple as that it will help. We're not asking, like, again, this is the interesting thing, we've talked in the past about perfection and consistency. We'd rather you to try and be as consistent as possible rather than trying to be perfect. That's it. So there are going to be nights where you're going to go out with your mates. There are going to be days when you have to pull your different work shift and things like that. So we're not asking you to kind of try and be as meticulous, but what we're trying to say is getting consistency. If you're doing kind of like 26, 27 days out of a month perfect sleep pattern, that is going to be do you an immense
yeah. It's kind of the whole 80-20 rule as well, isn't it? You know, what is it? If you focus on the 80% of the time, the 20% don't matter. Yeah. 20% take care of itself. Sort of.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So that's how I word it.
Yeah.
There might be a lot of people that disagree, but it's the better one for me.
So we've talked about routine.
Well, we haven't really. We've talked about routine as in times, but we haven't talked about
bedtime,
bed and wake up routines.
And wake up routines, which are so important.
Yeah.
And we've all got them. We've all got our bedtime and our morning routines / rituals. Whether that is you getting straight out of bed into your car to go to work, or getting up, having breakfast, brushing your teeth, having a shower, blah blah blah. All of them are routines. But what we're talking about when we talk about routines is finding one that makes sleep optimal for you. But also then setting up your day in the morning with your morning ritual. And you kind of champion that really within the Brian Move.
Yeah, I'm a massive believer on routines. I use it all the time for work productivity, and that's how it works for me. But for others, it can be goal productivity. So sort of thing is sitting down. What's the best way to actually get you out of bed? Again, some things I get people to do is gratitude journaling when they wake up. That can have a powerful thing. Could be even the thing of having a shower every morning could be a great thing to wake up. You're a big fan of morning cold showers to keep you start your day.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So that's a great way to work. But But then if you know you've got tight time in the morning, taking a lot of responsibilities away from the morning and pushing them into the evening can have a thing. So deciding what you're wearing the night before, making your breakfast 90% the night before. All these things can be tailored, taken out of your morning routine to give you the best possible morning routine to get you out of your bed and into optimum
positive. Yeah, everyone's done it. Everyone's done that whole, well, it's the end of the day, so I'm getting into bed and I'll care about tomorrow. And then they wake up and then they're stressed because they're running around like a headless chicken just trying to get everything done before they've got to be at work or drop the kids off at school or, you know. So actually taking that little bit of extra time at night just to kind of smooth things over for the morning is... Or, you know, on the other hand, if you want to sort your morning ritual out, get up 15 minutes earlier.
Well, that can happen now. If you've got you've made your sleep a bit more structured, you could create time in the morning to get a few more of these things done. So that definitely works. You talked about kind of rushing around in the morning, but again, people also rush to bed, sort of thing.
That's true.
So they'll work right up to the last moment on their laptops or constant of electrical devices, and then the next thing they're doing is they're getting unchanged and going straight to bed and going, "Why am I so awake?" And it's because you haven't unwinded.
Unwinded.
Well, wound down. Oh, all right.
Unwound.
Unwound. Because you haven't done that. You haven't got into. You haven't prepared yourself for bed.
No.
So again, we prepare you for your day with your morning routine. Your evening routine should all be about closing your day down, mentally clearing and preparing yourself for bed. Which does sound a bit new agey.
It does.
It does, but it's not.
It's research backed. At the end of the day, what we're trying to say to you is that modern life disrupts sleep patterns. That means things like light levels and electronic devices, and not because they're electronic, just because they're literally shining light into your eyes, which is stopping the sleep process from starting. It's not new agey, it's scientifically proven.
But the trouble is, the activities you do might not be new agey.
No.
So kind of things like, alright, stopping anything electronic an hour before bed.
Reading a book.
And kind of reading a book or getting your stuffs organised, having a bath. Again, I will always sort of 70% pack my bag the night before. So actually I do as well is I to-do list the night before, which is a very...
well, it gets everything out of your mind. So you're not laying there worrying about tomorrow because you've done your worrying and you've sorted out your list, so you're good.
It's quite interesting how I know 3 or 4 clients and a couple of trainers that will sleep with a notebook beside their bed just to do a mental dump before they sleep.
Or even if they wake up in the middle of the night and start worrying about things, because that happens as well. You know, you wake up and then all of a sudden you're thinking about something that actually seems a million times worse because it's the middle of the night. There's nothing you can do about it then. One of the best things you can do is write it down.
So, alright, so we talked about time and routine. Say, if you find that your bedtime and your wake up times aren't too bad, you do have some form of routine, the next place you've got to look to see why you're not getting your sleep is your bedroom itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are so many things in your bedroom that could be preventing you from getting your sleep.
One of the biggest ones is light. And that's any kind of light, and that's even the standby light on your TV, which, by the way, you shouldn't have in your bedroom in the first place. But standby lights have such an effect. Even when you've got your eyes closed, the light still enters your eye, through your eyelid, which wakes you up. Having things like blackout blinds can be great for that. Removing, again, like we said, electronic devices, not only from your routine, but actually from your bedroom. Unless there's a specific reason to have your mobile phone charging next to you, which you shouldn't do anyway, because you're going to burn your house down. But, you know, keeping those things out of the room where they're not now a distraction can have a huge impact. Having the right mattress. I know I'm running through it now. Having the right mattress and bed.
So we've talked about light in the room. Again, we've talked about... kind of the blackout blind is a key thing. So the light from outside, if you're near a street lamp, that can have such a big thing. And again, if you, depending on the times of days you sleep as well, again for your work and that, there could be a bit of a light level in the morning. Again, the whole idea is that we need to get up when it's light and go to bed when it's dark. It's very tough in this modern life. So that's why these little gadgets can be a godsend in terms of blackout blinds.
Tell you what I need to do, because my neighbours recently have decided they all want to put motion activated lights on their houses, but they seem to all want to aim them at my bedroom window. So every 5 minutes, the room fills with light. So I need to get some blackout blinds. I didn't need them up until recently, but isn't it funny?
So we talked about kind of things in the room. We talked about the bed being the thing we sleep on. This sort of thing. You said right mattress.
Yeah.
I'd even go as far as the right pillow.
Absolutely.
It's kind of interesting if you've got someone in the bed. Ask them how you sleep, whether you're on your back, on your front, or on your side. Because there are pillows designed for this. I'm a side sleeper, so I have what I call a hugging pillow.
I'm a side sleeper.
So basically, by hugging my pillow, it just changes my posture a little bit better because I'm on my side. Where if I had a very flat pillow designed for people that sleep on their backs, it just wouldn't work. And I could have neck issues. Then if I'm playing with my alignment, I get uncomfortable. If I'm comfortable in my sleep, I'm moving in my sleep. If you are moving in your sleep, you're not getting good sleep.
No.
So this is the thing. So your pillows and your mattresses, and also your duvets.
Yes. Basically, however much money you can spend on bed, mattress, pillows, duvet, spend it. Because it's the best money you'll ever spend. Ever. You know, and if you can afford 2-3 grand on all of that stuff, pay for it. Because it will change your life.
It will last as well. It is something.
Oh yeah, if you're spending that amount of money, they're not going to break within a year. You know, you're going to have them for a good few years. But that being said, also changing your mattress regularly can be really important, and your pillows.
Well, it depends. If you're going through now the memory foam style ones, and those they actually really last now. You can even get 50-50 if you need something a bit more firmer and things like that. So there are lots of options, and again, that's why there's now people that call themselves bed specialists because of that reason. Because it is now such a great selling point as a bed company, but it is true that getting the right sleep is crucial. So kind of finding out what's the best environment for your sleep in terms of your bed is very important.
Did we talk about sound?
I think I was too busy talking about bed. You did bring up sound.
Yeah, sound. Last thing on environment, sound is really important. Having a noisy environment is not good. Sometimes it's unavoidable if you've got neighbours and you lived in a terraced house. It's not always great. But kind of limiting sound, or if that isn't an option, actually creating sound. So things like white noise can be really helpful in terms of blocking things out, or even using things like earplugs. Because anything that's going to interrupt your sleep, you know, at the end of the day, we've developed a lot of our senses to alert us to certain things, and sound is one of them. And one of the reasons that we have this inbuilt fear of loud noises is because it's there to warn us. But we live in pretty safe houses these days, and very rarely do people come in them in the middle of the night. Hopefully not, anyway. So you can afford to block that noise out these days and really get the best quality sleep you can.
One thing before we move on to the next thing is temperature as well.
Oh, temperature, yeah, forgot about that.
Being too hot or too cold can have an effect, so try and find what's the best temperature in your sleeping environment, and that can be done by what you're wearing clothing wise, to what your duvet's like, to windows open, temperature in your house. So it's just kind of finding what's the right temperature for you.
I think the ambient temperature of the room, I'm sure, was about, optimal is something like 14 degrees C, something like that. I could be wrong.
I think we have ours about 12.5 at night, our heating, because it's at this point, at this time of year where it's a bit cooler.
In the summer it's not always easy actually. But you can get aircon units, but again they can be expensive and noisy, but sometimes that noise is good.
But the interesting thing is what we're trying to do is you are creating the best environment you can, because there are things that are unavoidable. So again, if you've got a hot room and having the windows closed overheats, but if you open them you're going to have a bit of outside noise. It is just trying to find a bit of balance. Really.
And what works for you as well, and only you know that.
Shall we? We've got a bit of time. We'll touch on just on a headline levels these next ones. So if your environment's right, your times and your routine, they're your big ones. If you get those now, 9 times out of 10, we're almost there. But there are other kind of things that will interfere. So first one, nutrition. So any form of steaming is out after 3 o'clock. So things like caffeine and certain foods which kind of as well will
have a stimulant effect.
So you're looking like,
what we're talking about.
I think I'm more trying to bleed into timing of foods.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Again, because it's interesting, they turn around and this whole notion of you shouldn't eat late because it causes you to weight gain. We're not talking about that.
No.
What we're talking about, there are some foods you can eat kind of in the evening that which help promote sleep.
Yes.
So like carbohydrates and
things full of tryptophan, like turkey and stuff like that.
These can help, but what it is eating too close to sleep can agitate the body.
Yeah, it can.
Because you're slowing the body's processes down to try and do a repair.
Yeah. And when your body's got to divert everything to digestion, that's not always ideal.
Mm-hmm. So again, making sure nutritionally you're supporting sleep. Exercise as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, training too close to sleep can have a negative impact because it can just actually make you more wired. Having two bigger training sessions, which I actually did the other week, and I slept horrifically bad because I spent 2 hours in the gym. I shouldn't have done it, but you know, we all have days where we think, yeah, I want to do this today. So getting the balance right, not doing too much, but just getting enough out of it can actually have a positive impact as well.
So also around height.
Yeah.
So again, you don't want anything that's going to push your heart rate sky high because you've got to then try and wait for that to come down for sleep. You could do certain.
Oh, if you're doing something like yoga or Pilates, like a couple of hours before bed, that's fine. But if you're doing something vigorous, try not to do it any closer than 3.5, 4 hours before bed, really. Other lifestyle factors?
So work, social responsibilities, making sure that they don't dominate your sleep, that you plan them around your sleep. Sleep should be a bit of a priority now.
And stress management as well, so you know if you're feeling a bit stressed, make sure you do things that help manage that and bring that down. Whether that is something like a bath or a 10-minute walk. Actually, that's probably pretty ideal before bed because that'll clear your mind and get you ready. I think that's it from a lifestyle perspective, isn't it?
I think that's going to be it from the sleep perspective as well, because that's what we're looking at. So in terms of this week, guys, so this is your little homework for you to do. So what you're going to do is, the first thing is I want you to track your sleep this week and identify where you need to improve. So again, so the areas you're going to be focused on is how long you sleep, when you're sleeping, what your morning and evening routines are like for sleep, make a note of what your environment's like in your bedroom, and if any of the things we've talked about isn't right, look into see how you can change those. And then if those are going pretty well, look at secondary factors of nutrition, what you're eating, when you're training and how you're training, and your lifestyle factors that could influence it.
Definitely.
So that is it. So focus on it. So hopefully next time we speak on the next podcast, you'll be well rested.
Yeah.
That's the wish.
Absolutely. So next time we're going to talk about our food and drink list. So very much do's and don'ts, isn't it? That really, or more do's than anything.
Yeah. It's basically what we're going to go into now. So over the next few sections, it's about preparing your nutrition right. So again, a lot of people will dive into the nutritional protocols. The next few ones we're going to teach you how to prepare and get yourself into a point when you start your nutritional programs, you're in the best possible place. And the first thing we need to identify is what food and drink we're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So you can find us everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for Eat Right Move in any one of those. You can even just pop it into Google, and all of that stuff will come up. And we've got lots of great information in all of those places, especially Facebook at the moment, where we've got our In 3 Minutes series. And if you're listening to this on audio, you can actually watch the video on YouTube, the full video. So do check that out.
If you want to find out more kind of about what we're up to and kind of all these things, so if you like the podcast and want more information from us, the best thing to do is go to the website, which is www.eatrightmove.co.uk, and sign up to our emails.
Yes.
We send these out pretty daily for you guys, full of loads of information, but also sharing the links of everything we're up to, and kind of so much information we're giving out at the moment for you guys that you could actually have an impact. So check that out. Yeah,
that's a really good point, because by now our first info zine will be released, which has got recipes, articles, workouts. You name it. Yeah, loads. And we're going to do one of them every month. So if you're not already part of the email list, sign up and we'll get it sent out to you.
Brilliant. Okay, excellent. That's it. Alright, until next week, guys. See you later.
See ya.